A video that you have got to see to believe, and even when you see it, it is hard to believe. A paralyzed man tossed from his wheelchair by a sheriff's deputy in Florida. We're going to talk to him in a minute. First, here's NBC's Mark Pardo with the story.
With a surveillance camera rolling, 32-year-old Brian Sterner was wheeled into a Hillsborough County jail after being arrested on a traffic warrant. At the booking desk, he says he was told to stand for a pat-down search.
I said I can't stand up. I'm quadriplegic.
A deputy then grabbed his wheelchair, dumping him to the floor.
I did a face plant pretty hard on my right side.
Lying helplessly on his back and with other officers standing by, Sterner was then searched by the deputy identified as Charlotte Marshall Jones.
That detention deputy should be charged criminally for abuse and battery on a disabled person.
The incident occurred 2 weeks ago, but only came to light this week after a journalist uncovered it. None of the jail deputies present had filed a report. When the chief deputy finally saw the surveillance tape, he says he was disgusted.
I was appalled. Obviously, the actions are indefensible at every level.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is now investigating the matter and has suspended Deputy Marshall Jones without pay. 3 supervisors were also suspended with pay for failing to report the incident.
Best I could do is offer him our apologies. There's no excuse.
Brian Sterner, who used to be a police dispatcher, says he's still furious and can hardly believe it really happened. For Today, Mark Potter, NBC News, Miami.
And Brian Sterner is here with his attorney, John Trevina. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Before I begin, I need to say that the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office declined an invitation to come here for an interview and did not want to offer a written statement. Having said that, Brian, help me out here. How did this escalate to the point where that deputy literally pushed you out of the chair?
Well, she was requesting that I stand up for some reason. My guess is that it had to do with frisking me. And I informed her at least 2 or 3 times that I couldn't stand up because I was a quadriplegic.
Now, I had read that she didn't believe you. Did she say that to you? Did she say anything or just dump you out of the chair?
She said a lot of things. She didn't say that she didn't believe me, but her actions really, beget what was going through her mind, which to me means that she didn't believe that I was a quadriplegic.
And after that, they tried to lift you up and put you back in the chair. Did you suffer any injuries? Because you took quite a fall.
That's a good question. I haven't seen the x-rays. My doctor hasn't seen the x-rays. My right side is still acting very strange to me. I don't have any sensation from the chest down. So I very well could have broken something.
And you wouldn't even know it?
And I wouldn't even know it.
John, what is your position? Are you surprised that there was no report filed?
Surprised at that, mortified by the whole incident. Having something like this captured on videotape really sends the message home that we really need to take a close look at what's going on in our jails and prisons.
So do you believe if this videotape had not existed, this would never have come to light?
Oh, no question in my mind. I think these types of things occur fairly routinely, and it's only when you have unequivocal evidence like this that something can be done about it.
Did she say anything to you after the fact, Brian? Did she apologize? Nothing?
No, in fact, she was smiling the rest of the day. I stood there and watched her, sat there and watched her all day, smiling, all this kind of stuff. And when she was leaving, I made a point of looking her straight in the eye to see if she was going to do it one last chance. And she just smiled and walked on her way like she was going home.
So how did this even come to light then? Did you tell somebody about this, or...?
Well, I approached a reporter because after a week of kind of sitting by myself after getting out of jail, I said, I'm not going to take this anymore. I remembered seeing cameras, and I thought to myself, well, those are probably on to protect them. And, I said, well, maybe we can use this to my advantage and the advantage of people really who are down-pressed by the system. It's not about race. It's not about, a wheelchair. It could happen to anybody at any time. And hopefully that's what will come out of this, that this negative way of dealing with life and people will change.
Do you want to press charges? Do you plan to press charges, John?
We're certainly asking that, and I spoke with the sheriff last evening, and he indicated that he intends to refer the case to the state attorney for review.
Well, he obviously was shocked. At least that's what he demonstrated in the news conference. That
very, very much so. He was very apologetic. I believe he was very sincere, and I truly believe that he's going to take a serious look at this.
And Brian, is there anything that could set this right in your mind? I know you said each time you see this, you get angrier and angrier.
There's a lot of things that could set it right. One would be the sheriff apologizing to me personally. The next thing that could happen is the state's attorney could get involved, and then the attorney can get involved, and then Charlie Crist can get involved, and then somebody else that leads this country can get involved, because it's not about one deputy. It's not about a sheriff. It's not about a governor. It's about this ridiculous downpression of people across the world, economic or whatever you want to call it. Because just like Rodney King got beat on the street and I got thrown out of my wheelchair, it happens to people every day. It's just now there's cameras that catch it.
And you plan to fight it.
Damn right.
All right, Brian, thank you very much for joining us. Brian Sterner and his attorney, John Trevina. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Come on, this way.
Meet Brian Sterner, who broke his neck almost 14 years ago and is a quadriplegic. But watch what happens when Sterner, who can drive and was arrested on a traffic violation, gets to the Orient Road Jail.
And this deputy, Marcia, you know, she looked at me and she didn't believe that I was a quadriplegic, I guess. And she walked behind me with those handles on the back of that hospital-grade wheelchair and just dumped it straight forward.
Sterner says he tried to roll as he was going down, but hit so hard he thought he had broken 2 ribs. Then when he was on the floor, deputies frisked him and tried to get him back into the chair.
You know, I told him how to pick me up and put me back in the chair, but without sensation. Like, I don't feel anything from my chest down, so I didn't know they were broken then. My ribs.
The Hillsborough Sheriff's Office didn't know anything about the incident until we showed them their tape. And now an investigation is underway.
This has all come to light today, therefore this review very active.
And while we asked for a written report of the incident, the major in charge here at the Orient Road Jail told us there isn't one. Because as far as they're concerned, they didn't have a problem with, nor cause a problem to, any inmate in a wheelchair. But don't tell that to Brian Sterner.
It's incredibly degrading. It's an example of how poorly trained the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is. You know, if they're trying to figure out if somebody's in a wheelchair or not, there are many other ways you can do it besides dumping somebody on their face. You know?
But it's something Sterner had to face, and now the Sheriff's Office will have to face the fact that a deputy at the jail thought it was appropriate to dump someone out of a wheelchair onto the ground, and another deputy appears to think it's funny.